We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 80.
Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, otherwise known as the director, the actress, and who the hell is that guy? Chad, Michelle, and Garrett.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast. Podcast is all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-hosts Chad Kukahiko and Michelle.
Hi.
We're all independent filmmakers and members of the We Make Movies filmmaking community in Los Angeles. How's it going, guys?
Good. You got a haircut.
I did
Looks
get a
good.
haircut. Yeah.
That's good.
I did it right before I went to Austin for a self-publishing conference, so I figured I'd better look somewhat good.
Oh, okay. Looks good.
You got
Looks
more
sharp.
than one haircut, Garrett Robinson.
I
Oh.
see what you did. Oh, boy.
Shh.
If you are
Sorry, I'm
watching
a little
this...
cheesy today because I went to the Ren Fair. I was in the Ren Fair all day, so if I'm a little cheesy, I've been hanging out with some wenches and knights and ladies. So.
It's not just because you're Michelle Legadoux.
I think it's all of the above. If you're
Yes.
watching the show live, because like us, you have nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon, feel free to comment on the YouTube channel or tweet us at the hashtag WeMakeMovies, and we will respond live. And this is interesting. Chad has a quick question he'd like to pose as a funny cold open.
Well, this is my question. I have a neighbor who sings really badly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
loud.
Okay.
Very, very loud. It is painful to hear.
Okay.
I am considering buying her some voice lessons. And just leaving like the coupon, the like gift certificate, because a friend of mine's a really excellent voice coach, like 3 voice lessons. And not because I like my neighbor, because she's one of the worst neighbors I've ever had in my entire life, but because I am looking out for the well-being of my ears. Now, my girlfriend is saying that's super passive-aggressive,
It
and
is.
and that's super dicky, but
It
it's
is.
like,
I'm going to go with what, okay,
I don't really care, though.
unfortunately, what you're going to get from buying her voice lessons is another 6 months of meeny,
I would prefer
right?
it. Believe me, I
Which-
would prefer
which-
it.
And
I
bad
would prefer
vocal
it.
exercises are just as bad as bad singing.
You should try coming over and hear what it's making my ears bleed. It's really
I think
really
you should
bad.
record it, either on camera or just on audio, and
Yes.
share it
Put it on
around.
YouTube.
What's hilarious
That
is
shit'll go viral.
I used to have the world's worst rapper, and now he's being completely like I can't hear. He's like a building over, and he's getting completely blocked out by this woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yes.
The epic saga. You need to.
It is
This definitely needs to be recorded somehow.
It is a
Singing and.
Cacophonous nightmare in my
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Ooh,
It is-
cacophonous. That's a good word.
Okay, so you guys say don't do it. You're saying it's a
No.
total different.
Oh, I didn't say don't do it.
Oh.
I didn't say that at all. I said it's a totally
I'm
passive
gonna
aggressive dick
I'm
move.
I'm going to say it's going to cause you a lot more harm than good because regardless of whether said person takes this seriously, if they take it seriously, they're like, ooh, that person thinks I have talent. And so they're going to be practicing even more often. And or that person's being passive aggressive and they think I should shut the fuck up. Then when someone's behind me revving their engine and I'm going potentially kind of slow, I think go slower.
I know this
So-
guy. I know the voice coach that I'd be buying her lessons from, and he's fantastic. He has not agreed. He says he's like locked up, and I can't buy lessons from him right now. But damn it, I really want to do it. Anyway, that's enough time spent
Not
on
something
that.
I'd ever do, but it's a story I want to. My voice got
I know.
It got really
It's-
quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's not something I'd ever do, but it's a story I want to hear at a party sometime. So if you do it as a personal favor to me, I'd really appreciate it.
You got it. Will do.
We need to hear about this, Chad, because I feel that this is potentially an ongoing
Yes.
film
This
geek.
is a saga. This is an epic. This is not
Yes.
some happening. This is a thing.
Yeah, I will fill you in on what if I do it. I will fill you in.
That's what he said.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna get on we're gonna get onto the topics for the day. I am going to start. I don't have you. Okay, so let me just start with the question. Have you guys seen Avengers? I know Chad has. Michelle.
I haven't, but I am very excited about this. It's going to be like maybe the top grossing film in the entire freaking history of the world ever.
No, the first Avengers beats it.
Like,
Well,
but
here's the thing.
It's close.
Like, what, 400 and something million?
Whoa, okay, so let's...
Okay.
So, it has the second highest opening weekend ever.
Second highest.
The first Avengers had the first highest opening weekend ever. Now, opening weekend doesn't always mean highest grossing films, but it doesn't bode well for beating the first film, which is a little bit sad to me because I actually thought that this was a superior film to the first one. But of course, you know, film quality doesn't always mean. Yeah, I got that. Film quality doesn't always mean that it's gonna nail it at the box office. But did you like it more than the first one, Chad?
I didn't, but it's more a matter of like my particular thing against super powerful superheroes. They just kind of bore me. The Vision and blah blah. I don't want to spoil anything,
right?
But it's a little bit. I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. It was very much what I expected, except I forgot about the Vision. I won't say no more than that. And if I think I would have been a little bit more prepared to not enjoy it as much had I remembered that was happening. Just because, you know, I'm just not a big fan of you know, my issue with super powerful beings is there's no sort of gauge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when they're super powerful, there's no real threat.
That's the problem I've always had with Superman. So I am going to be interested to see. But I mean, Thor is more powerful than the Vision. Like,
is
but
he?
he didn't. But I mean, in the comics he is, and they didn't do away with that in the movie. You know, like they were both kind of holding their own against Ultron. So, I don't know. It was. I thought it was. Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
What are your thoughts, Garrett?
I loved it. I thought it was
super
amazing.
powerful superhero?
No, I am pretty against like I don't like Superman. I just have never gotten into Superman because I'm just like, okay, well, your powers are exactly what the comic needs you to be, and of course every comic does that to some degree. But I loved it. I thought that it was God. It's so hard to talk about it without spoilers. But
it's okay. I'll probably see it tonight.
Yeah, no, not for you, for the audience. God,
no. It's all about me, though, isn't it?
It's all about Michelle.
So, but it's probably it. I still like the first Iron Man film more than any other Marvel film that's ever come since. But it was I liked it better than the first Avengers, and I liked it better than pretty much any other film and any other Marvel film. It was I liked a lot of the different dimensions that they took the characters on, like Black Widow and the Hulk. That whole thing was great. I really liked. I really liked. Oh God, there's so many things you can't really talk about. But the Maximoff.
It's hard.
Yeah, the Maximoff twins, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Oh my God, they were amazing. Hawkeye got a little bit of the short end of the stick in the first Avengers film. He was awesome in this movie. Loved that. That was amazing. So if you don't like superhero movies, this is not the movie that's gonna change that for you. But if you do like superhero movies, it's a really good superhero movie. Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, and it's not excessively comic booky, you know, like there were a lot of references and jokes and stuff, and like when the Vision showed up, I was all like squirming in my seat, just like, ee! But my wife, totally enjoyed it without knowing crap about the comics or the storyline or anything like that. So, and the lead up. They're doing a good build up. I was afraid of like losing the stakes, you know, like the stakes, like how could you raise the stakes after the first film? But I thought that they did an admirable job of that with reference to a certain particular thing. But you know what? We should stop talking about it because we can't. We should stop talking about it.
It's fun.
Yes.
Like we should do an entire podcast about something trying not to do any spoilers and like
without
discuss it
saying
all.
what it is. We should talk about it without saying anything about it.
That would be hilariously frustrating.
That'd be
I'm going to go ahead and
amazing.
move on.
Yeah,
since we
to
don't want
another
to-
highest grossing ever.
So
Right.
the Mayweather Pacquiao fight
Oh my
was
God.
last night, and though I admittedly don't really care, plenty of people do and did. In fact, this one fight supposedly generated more than $400 million. A fair chunk of that from the $90 pay-per-view fees paid. Interestingly, a number of the people that were there were actually live streaming it via Periscope and Meerkat, the two most used live streaming apps that are out today. According to a report by Variety this morning, every stream that posted from the fight generated hundreds or thousands of views, which is kind of a big deal because it's hard to really find them. Anyway, even though these views were really shaky and pixelated, people were watching the crap out of them. Now, this development and the development of these new live streaming apps is really, really, really likely to cause some piracy lawsuits. And besides the apps themselves being sued and the people using the apps to sue them, Twitter is bound to get pulled into the fight as well, and not just because they own Periscope, but because both those apps use Twitter as the means to connect the streamers and the viewers. The biggest sources of piracy lawsuits today are from torrent sites or streaming sites that allow people to download movies and TV shows. But with the increasing cost of some of these massive live events, it's entirely possible that live streaming apps are the next target in the anti-piracy crosshairs.
Oh yeah, I agree.
That would be. I'm just like, what guys? What are you gonna do? Like, how are they going to stop it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like piracy.
That's exactly what the article from Variety, which by the way I will include the link. That's exactly what they were talking about. It's like because it's not up for days and days. It's up for the event, and that's it. That's how Meerkat and Periscope work. Is they're live streaming, and that's it. So if you miss it, you miss it, unless they take it, which you can do. You can take it afterwards. You can save the file on your phone if you're whatever you're streaming from, and then upload it to YouTube separately. But yeah, Periscope and Meerkat, it's going to be. But there's going to be hashtag. So go ahead.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is the only reason that exists. To such a great degree that it does is because that these people don't understand what we talk about on this show all the time. If you charge $90 to see a fight, people are going to pirate it. That's why it's way smarter to do the Netflix model. If House of Cards is available on Netflix and you only have to pay for a subscription of $9 a month to watch the whole thing and you can cancel your subscription after that, the amount of piracy, like, can you even pirate House of Cards? Has anybody bothered? Like, why would you? It doesn't make any sense. But
they wouldn't have made even remotely the amount of money that they made on it, A. And B, I feel like inevitably there's going to be piracy regardless. Like, no matter how many restrictions we put against it, like, no matter what happens, like, whatever medium, there's going to be piracy if it's expensive.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's the thing.
It's at a premium.
The thing about these live events is they are time sensitive. If it's a sporting event, if it's like the Super Bowl or something like that, and what's the competition? I mean, I think probably my guess would be that, it's expensive, and if you can't afford it, you'll watch it on Twitter through somebody's crappy phone. But it's not going to move. I mean, what do you have to do? Punch up 7 different periscopes and have them going? Is that even possible? You can't watch it on your computer even. You have to watch it on a device, Yeah. So I don't see it being a big deal, but, it is.
They're probably going to,
In fact, I watched the fight last night with a group of friends at a friend's house that actually paid for it. It was a little anticlimactic, sadly, and I'm a little sad about it.
That's what I was hearing. I don't care about it, and I didn't even know anything about anybody. I didn't know that until this morning, and Kendall was telling me about how Mayweather's like a woman beater and blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, it's a
I
whole
don't
thing.
know.
But
Yeah.
I mean, but inevitably, like boxing is not exciting unless there's a knockout. I feel like unless there's blood
I
or somebody
think many,
like
many
fucking
people
like
would disagree with
loses
you.
their yes, but like I'm such an MMA fan that like with MMA you can see what's going on. With boxing, because it's so fast, you don't understand. Like this is a whole side note, and it won't take more longer than a minute and a half. But this is my thing, but like. If you can't see if it connects, so it looked like Pacquiao like won it because he was punching like a motherfucker, but like half of them weren't connecting. So anyway,
I heard he had
it's all
a
about
biceps
connecting.
shoulder.
There's some kind there's potentially maybe like some kind of parallel that we can draw between connecting your punches in boxing and filmmaking. Garrett,
Or we could just move on to your segment, Michelle.
I think so.
all right. Okay, so this is very exciting. Obviously, I don't know how like neither of you guys like scooped me on this, but like Josh Trank, he left the second standalone Star Wars film. He's like, I'm out. Like the Fantastic Four director is like, peace, motherfuckers. Like I don't know, and it sounds like a little bit like. I don't know if the dish is on this, so I would be interested in knowing what you guys know about the dish on this, because all he said in his interviews were like, yeah, like, it's an incredible honor, like, Star Wars has always been, like, everything, it's great, may the Force be with you all, I'm out, I'm gonna go do something else, like, that's bullshit, like, nobody leaves a Star Wars film, so I'm interested in knowing, do you guys know the dish on it?
True story. I do not give a fuck about the second Star Wars film because I do not know if the first one is going to be good. I am so hopeful. But I cannot divide my attention between the one that J.J. Abrams is doing and the ones after that. If the Abrams film is good, then I will be like, okay, let's get all into this. Let's get invested. Like with Iron Man, until the Iron Man film was awesome, everybody was like, "You're gonna do an Iron Man film? Okay, yeah." And we want to do Thor and the Hulk, and everybody's like, "Okay, Marvel, you have a really good time with that." And then Iron Man came out, and everybody was like, "Avengers!" And that's where I'm at. I'm in the okay. Let's just see what you do with the Star Wars, and then we're gonna.
I have a theory. Myself. My theory is that
fucked up my throat.
That they probably let him go, and they did it in such a way to make him safe. Let him save face. That's what I'm guessing happened.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still pretty green.
Also, let's be honest. He's directed the new Fantastic Four movie. Like.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he direct Chronicles?
He did. Yeah, Chronicle was good.
Yeah,
I liked Chronicle.
That was decent. Like, I mean, but I also think like maybe here's I kind of have a little theory that he was like fucking super fan, like, and he like went all out, balls to the wall, and like was like pitching himself, and he's like, I can do this, I'm amazing, and then he got there, and like George Lucas was like.
George Lucas hopefully is nowhere near any aspect of any part of the production of any Star Wars film.
He sold it. I doubt they're really giving him
out.
Lucasfilms.
Yeah, Lucasfilms maybe.
But JJ's doing the first one himself, correct?
Yeah.
And now maybe I have a feeling maybe it's just a really nice way of saying, you know what, I want to do the second one too. I have a feeling like.
Well, no, it's not. JJ, we're talking about a standalone. He was doing remember, because they're going to do Star Wars Episode 7, and then they're doing a standalone film the next year, which is like not the Jedi or the Skywalker family.
Oh.
And then they're doing Star Wars Episode 8, which I think Abrams is maybe already doing. I actually don't know.
Already. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know about that.
Like I said, right now all my attention is on Episode 7, and it's just like I will not. I am staying on target. I'm staying on target.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
But I'm not hopeful. I'm not hopeful for the new Fantastic Four movie, and I was not able to.
I'm not either. I mean, I've already talked about the fact that I think it's really ageist to add. You know, and I know that supposedly there's a separate alternate Fantastic Four storyline that it is.
Ultimates. Yeah.
Anyway, I just think it just comes off super ageist to me that they had to make Reed Richards a kid, and you know, it's anyway, whatever. I'm not
Goats and
looking
goats.
forward to it. Do you mind if I move on?
Do
I
it.
know we actually have okay. So Hulu.
Hold on.
licensed-
Actually, I'm sorry. I just realized what the Fantastic Four is. It's the CW version of the Fantastic Four.
That's
what it
said.
is.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I already said that. I already
Carry
said
on.
that.
You did? Okay.
Yes, I said that it looks like the SNL did a sketch of the CW doing the Fantastic
Did you
Four.
say that on the show?
Yeah, I said that on the show.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, then
So
I must
we
have thought
just
it was my
saying
idea,
that-
but it was just your idea sitting in my
Yes.
head.
Are we just
It
saying
was.
that their ages because we're old? I mean, is that a thing?
Speak for yourself.
Ageist is ageist. You know what I mean? Whether we're old or young, the characters are older. He's graying.
Yeah.
Reed Richards is supposed to be graying. For
At least they're
Christ's
more
sake.
blatant about it than last time, where they hired like a 32-year-old actor and
Play a
colored his
50-year-old,
hair.
right? Exactly. No, they're at least being a little more obvious about it. Anyway, so as I was starting to say,
Yes. Sorry.
Carry
Hulu
on.
has licensed Seinfeld for $160 million this week. They're clearly
God.
following. Yeah, they're clearly following the footsteps of when Netflix at the end of last year announced that they were going to start carrying Friends as of January 1st, 2015, which they did. They licensed it from Warner Brothers, but they didn't really, at least I couldn't find it anywhere, they didn't really tell anybody how much they were paying for that. And in this deal, Seinfeld is being sold for $100 million, and Sony clearly thinks it's a good idea to let people know that. So when you break it down to from 180 episodes, $160,000, it breaks down to about $875,000 per episode for a show that has been solidly in syndication for basically 2 decades. Now, my question is, I have many questions, but the top questions are, does Hulu really think they're going to generate $875,000 from each and every one of those episodes? And if not, what are they planning on doing? Are they trying to like kind of cock block Netflix so Netflix can't get it because Netflix is more likely to make money off of these things? I don't know. And how much did Netflix pay for Friends? Is this kind of a comparable deal? I mean, there are more episodes of Friends. I think it's in the 200s. But anyway, this is a fascinating move. I'm curious what you guys think about it.
I don't give
That's
two
why I
fucks
think
about
Friends-
Seinfeld.
Really? I was going to say, I think Friends is less popular than Seinfeld.
What?
I think
You are wrong.
And also, here's the thing. I think that Friends, if just taking it as like an entire...
I don't think you're as wrong as Garrett made
entirety,
it. It's the
No.
same, by the way.
But I think
I don't think
it's
you're wrong,
taking-
maybe. I think
Taking
I
it
think
in its
it's
entirety,
comparable.
I think Friends, because of the way it was, it is slightly dated. I think that it's not going to hold up as well
think?
as Seinfeld does, because Seinfeld, like, really, I mean, I think in general it deals with universal shit, you know, like, oh god, that guy's annoying, and he's like, but like Friends was a lot more specific to what was cool at the time, what was like that. I absolutely think they're going to make their money back. I
You
really
think so?
do.
Through
Yeah.
off of their regular revenues? I mean, I need to see the
Absolutely.
numbers to get that because I don't know. I don't know how much they generate. This is the thing about Hulu though. Hulu is basically owned by sort of it's not Mark Cuban anymore. He sold it to like a group, a consortium of networks, and so the networks basically own Hulu right now. I mean, I know that they were trying a couple of years ago to sell it to somebody and it fell on its face, but it's so that fact adds another element to it. Anytime they can fuck Netflix, they will, and it will, you know what I mean, and they'll pay for it. So on top of the fact that why did they let people know this price? They didn't have to tell people this price. Letting people know the price there's something behind that. You know what I mean?
It's like buying a really expensive car and like driving around and revving your engine.
And
You
when
know
you're
what
at
I
a
mean?
party
You're
and
like,
somebody
check this
comments
shit
on it,
out.
you say, "Yup, paid $100,000 for it." It's
Yeah.
Don't take the price tag off. Just leave it.
Yeah, Hulu.
Hulu is to Netflix what DC is to Marvel. They just keep trying to do things because Netflix is doing them, but like I don't see that the execution is there personally. And in this particular case, there's an even more dramatic parallel, which is that what do you call it? DC was like all about the price tag for a long time until Green Lantern happened. Because when Green Lantern was coming out, the first thing I heard before I saw a trailer for the movie was, dude, we spent $300 million on this motherfucker. That's how cool we are as DC. Bam! And then it came out and it was the shit show that it was. And they were just and anyway. So that's what I see this as, is like, dude, I don't give a, like, come on. Give me a
More
break.
importantly, what I want to know is, I mean, I was never on either Friends or Seinfeld, sadly, but like these mofos are making so much money.
Yep.
But it's like, what is the I don't know what it is, like the SAG kind of situation as far as like something that has been out for so long that's
They
suddenly
still have to
bought
pay.
by.
They still have to pay. I mean, I don't know what the new media things are, because
It's a
I think
new media thing, yeah.
is,
So
no,
they're
that's a
not
good
necessarily
point.
getting
That's a good point.
residuals, because like sometimes when something, you make a deal, like when something is like Wild Spot or whatever, like, you know, new media, like it came
you know who
out.
just made a change is Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David. Those two dudes.
Yes.
I mean, it's owned by I can't remember who else. There's another party. There's a production company. I can't remember what the production company is, but Sony made a chunk. Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld, and then the production company. They all made a
Of course.
grip. Yeah.
But there has to be this whole thing that is happening with SAG-AFTRA, because all of these shows are coming back. Before, I mean, for sure, Seinfeld and Friends, like there wasn't any kind of new media clause in the contract, I'm sure, when they signed the contract. So they're going to have to go back, and I'm sure they renegotiated with almost everybody, which means...
Castle Rock. Time Warner's Castle Rock, by the way. Yeah.
Very exciting.
What's
Anyway,
the
yeah.
deal with that?
That's not bad. That's not
Man.
bad.
Like I said, could not give two shits about that show. I tried watching it many
It's a
times,
funny show, dude. It is a
It's
hilarious
so
show.
fun.
but it never got me.
I thought
Never
it was
got
a
me.
lot. For the record, I think it's a lot funnier than Friends, and I never really got
fully
into
agree
Friends.
with you, Chad. I agree. I'm with you.
And I know I have a few friends who that is their favorite show of all time.
Well, clearly then it's the better
There's a
show.
lot of people.
It's all anecdotal, but I'm just saying.
So we're gonna
Carry
move on.
on, Garrett.
A significant thing happened to me this week. Well,
What is that?
a significant thing happened over the last month, actually, which completed this week. I completed VEDA, which is VEDA, Vlog Every Day in April, which is like a thing that YouTubers do. And when I started vlogging last year, I started vlogging, and then I found out about the Vlogbrothers after I'd been doing it for like 2 months. Somebody was like, "You remind me of these guys," and I was like, I watched them, and I was like, "Oh my god, I must make my channel like this." So slowly I evolved until now. When I do get hater comments on YouTube, they're usually like, "You're just trying to be the Vlogbrothers." I'm like, "Yes."
Thank you.
You're just trying to be Steven Spielberg. Yes. Well, old Spielberg. Nowadays, I don't know, Christopher Nolan or something. But
Shyamalan.
yes, that's who I'm trying to be.
At his
Lama ding dong. So I vlogged
What,
every
you didn't like
single
The Village?
day. Sorry.
What, you didn't like The Village?
This is totally not that segment. I'm not even gonna. We're gonna move on. I vlogged. I made a YouTube video on my channel every single day during the month of April, which is a thing that some YouTubers do. I saw Hank Green do it last year, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do it too." So I tried.
7 days a week.
Yeah, 7 days a week. Yeah.
Oh moly!
Nice
And
work.
I failed miserably last year, and this year I was like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But the thing is that I say I'm going to do a lot of things. Like I say, I used to have a thing on my channel where
So true.
yeah, if I missed a vid, Dad knows. I used to have a thing on my channel
Ding,
where
ding, 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 ding.
if I missed my normal schedule, I would ask my audience to give me like a punishment that I would then have to do on camera, and I would do that. I gave that up real quick because I just kept missing things on my schedule. Like I say I'm going to do things, and then like real life intervenes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. Which some people like really dislike, and then certain people like my friends and my audience who have stuck around are like, well, you know, like life intervenes. But I did it, and I did it despite many times thinking, well, no way. Like a couple of the videos were 11 o'clock p.m. and I was like, I gotta go to bed. I'm exhausted. I'm too tired. I can't do anything. And I was like, no. And I walked into my office. I sat down. I just turned on the camera and I was like, listen, guys, I wish I was giving you a better video, but I got, like this happened today and this happened today and this happened today. And the only reason that I'm making a video at all is because I am not going to let a day go by. So da-da-da-da-da. And it was just like 4 minutes of that. Weirdly, those are actually the videos, some of the videos that got the most comments because they were like, I love this, like, it's just so honest and you're just da-da-da-da-da. They didn't get the most views. Thank you so much, Ted. But they didn't get the most views, but they did get the most comments.
For the record, that was Michelle.
Okay, good to know. But it was nice. It was nice to have achieved it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I actually did a thing that I set out and said I was going to do on a schedule that I said I was going to do it on. And ever since then, I've gotten my like daily production schedule in, my writing schedule in. I'm actually like, it was sort of the confidence boost I needed to like get a whole lot of shit in order. So for anybody who does run a YouTube channel or who does has a dream, like whatever the thing is that they want to do, whether it's filmmaking or YouTube or writing or whatever it is, keep trying. You know what I mean? Like don't stop saying that you want to do some ambitious thing because every time you try to do an ambitious thing you fail, because maybe one day you won't fail and then you'll feel really good about yourself, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so there you go.
I love
That's
that.
super controversial. Super controversial, that.
I'm taking a stand. I'm planting my flag. I'm drawing a line.
Wow.
On
Yeah.
a side note, I feel like that's why, because I'm such an addictive, like I love running. I love it so much. But the reason I love running is because you are in charge of your own success. You start running, and there's a finish line. So the only thing you have to do is just keep running.
Right.
The end.
Yeah.
Like, that's a
You can
thing.
care about the time
like,
if you want to,
So
but
you can care about the
regardless,
time if
you
you
have
want
to
to, but like inevitably, if you choose to put one foot in front of the other, if you choose to put in the hard work, then you get the medal, and it's awesome, and it's fun, and it's wonderful. Like, this is what I feel about that. Like, you, regardless, you're maybe vlogging at like midnight when you have to wake up at 6 a.m. for your 17 children. But
Every time we mention how many children I have on this show, it gets more and more.
It, like,
Last time I think it
doubles.
was 12.
It's exponential.
Yeah.
But it's great because this is something you can do. You are in charge of, which I think is exciting in a world that is just so subjective.
In a world.
In your subjective world.
So,
Speaking
Michelle,
of subjectivity,
Yes.
I need to let you know, friends, that Justin Bieber is going to be making a cameo. Right? On Zoolander.
He's going to be making what?
On Zoolander 2. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. It's terrifying. First of all, I was a little bit taken aback. Did either of you guys watch the fight last night, or am I the only dude on the podcast?
Looks like you're the only dude.
You looks like you're the only dude.
Cool. All right. So,
Neither of
what's
us are
interesting?
at all interested in sports in any way, shape.
Tell
sadly.
me the sports couple. Okay, but so when Mayweather was walking out, Bieber was behind him. There's like he's like here I am. I'm gonna beat everybody up, and then like right behind him was like Justin Bieber.
Douches
like
do travel in packs, I guess.
like right, which was interesting because I feel like that Mr. Bieber, because he's had such a hard time with the negative publicity lately, is potentially calling
Oh,
in
it
his-
must be so difficult
I
for him.
know.
I can't imagine going through life like that. My God, that poor boy.
Is
Did you
he
hear
just calling
about
in
him-
all of his favors to like try to make people like him? Like he's like, dude, Mayweather, like, can I just walk behind you because everybody thinks I suck and I'm like always like getting like arrested and shit for like drug abuse.
Did you
And then,
hear
like,
how he
now he's
crashed a prom the other day? Like a week ago?
No.
He was shooting at a certain studio where my girlfriend happened to be producing a show, and they had to tear the show down right after it finished, so that because there was going to be a prom that was also happening in that same studio, and he was recording something, and then after he finishes recording, he goes in and he crashes the prom, And there's a whole article. I think he got somebody's suing him over it. But you can also, you know what? I'm going to include this link as well in the show notes.
Wait a minute. Like, if I were a teeny bopper and Justin Bieber crashed my prom, I'd be creaming my little 16-year-old panties.
They are, but apparently he didn't treat like security and whatnot well, and it was Chatsworth Charter High School. It happened a week ago. Yesterday. Yeah.
Wow, Mr. Bieber. Wow.
Can we talk about anything else? Anything else in the entire world? Can we be done with this segment?
No,
We
I was just like, it was sad, and it was a little bit like, really? Do we have to have, like, I mean, of all the cameos, cameos hurt my soul a little bit, unless it's someone who is, like, worthy of a cameo. It's not just like it's not a putting someone in the film because they deserve to be in a film, and it's like a fun, cool cameo. It's just a oh my God, let's put this person in a film because they're going to sell a lot more tickets, and that makes me sad.
So I'm going to move on, if that's okay with you guys.
It's absolutely fine. It's great. You do that. Go for it.
So we're actually trying to connect with a little guest, a guest person. Something's not exactly working out at the moment. I'm hoping that
a little guest person.
A guest person. As soon as they come on.
Are we getting Peter Dinklage? Did you get me Peter Dinklage? Is he coming on the show?
Oh my God! Speaking of cream and panties, if Peter Dinklage comes on the show, I will be.
Peter Dinklage.
Guys, like, not even kidding.
Who doesn't love Dinklage?
Oh my God!
But it's not Dinklage. Anyway.
Oh my God! I saw him in a trailer on Friday for a movie that I'm so upset about.
Pixels?
That fucking... Oh my God, I'm so upset.
The movie looks really awful.
It looks terrible.
But because he's in it, I might see it. He's so ridiculously funny. The guy's... He was in a movie with Justin Long, I think that's his name, where he played this flaming barista, and whose name is, by the way, when the guy's like, hey, what's your name? He says, Strard. And he's like, well, nice to meet you, Gerard. He's like, no, Strard. He's so ridiculous. Anyway, let me go ahead and dig into what I'm talking about, and then as our guest finally makes it on, we will introduce him and talk more about him. We Make Movies is about to embark into territory which we expect will make us the first legitimate community-supported production company. And by legitimate, I mean viable. I mean, that's actually what we are. And we're not just pretending. You know, we're actually creating. Anyway, Garrett, could you check and find out what's going on? Could you? Because I'd like to.
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll.
What's going on is badass.
For the record, I didn't know this was happening before the show, so.
Just letting you know.
Anyway, whatever. I thought I said that in emails, but whatever. Anyway, so we are. Of course, we have the rolling production fund. If you follow us at all, you know that basically 70% of all the money that comes from any of the new members goes directly into a fund that funds projects. But we've also always tried to find ways to bring in independent investors for curated projects that we don't vote on, but projects that we just kind of say, it's ready now, let's do it. And so we've started to do that. Right now we did that with Jeff Bauer and Laura Menino's piece called Off the Grid, very funny sitcom. And we actually read the entire piece this past Wednesday at the workshop, and it went really well. It was, more kind of a community-wide sort of FYI in a sense, because the project is already kind of moving down the track, and we expect to begin principal photography sometime, like maybe a few weeks after WMM Fest this June. And the fact that we're producing this project at all is actually just one small part of the overall plan. Believe it or not, I don't really have time to get into all the other aspects of the deal or the plans that are attached to it and related to it. It's just we don't have enough time to cover it. But I'm going to try to give sort of a sketch of the different little items, the little bullet points, and obviously, a lot is going to be dependent on how things roll out over time. So, I'm only going to be able to give you kind of a hint of the plans. And anyway, so that's what we're going to try to do. So the first thing people need to understand about We Make Movies is that We Make Movies, our values are not just talking points. They are the yardstick. Oh, do we have Jeff
Jeff's
Bauer,
here.
by the way? Like to introduce
so.
Jeff Bauer.
Hello?
Jeff, would you like to say anything?
It says my mic is on, but
Yeah, we
no,
hear
we can hear
you.
you.
Sorry. I just thought we couldn't, but it just turns out that you have an actual good quality microphone that wasn't making noise until you said something into it. Huzzah!
He does audio.
Power, ladies and gentlemen.
I was waving without speaking too, so that probably wasn't a big help. So
Yeah, I was like, wait,
So for anybody who doesn't know, Jeff Bauer is the very talented writer and actor who is the lead writer. Can I say lead writer? You guys are kind of co-writing, but you're the lead writer on.
yeah, we
co-writer.
co-wrote the pilot. Yeah,
So you're
with
the
Laura
co-writer.
Menino.
Right. And he's also one of the leads on the show. And do you recall when I first started talking to you guys about this plan at all? About the
Somebody asked me that at the read-through, and I think it was about 8-9 months ago. I want to say maybe even more than that.
It's
You
funny.
guys, yeah.
It's funny how this stuff it just takes time to develop this stuff, And I mean, if you think about it, it's not getting to the pilot within less than a year is not bad. I mean, that's not bad at all. Anyway, so let me get back into the thing, and we'll cut back and we'll talk more with Jeff. So anyway, as I was saying, the first thing you need to know about We Make Movies is that our values are not just talking points. They're not just something that we just say we really believe in. They are actually the yardstick by which we guide the way we treat one another, and they're a major determining factor around new projects that we embark upon and behind every new development that we sort of take in as we grow as a company. So, for instance,
They're
we have
also what we yell at Chad at every weekly meeting. That's
Don't remind me.
one of the most
Don't.
important functions
no,
of
it's
the
not.
values. If you
Don't.
ever come to a We Make
It's
Movies
so
live
cute.
event, you are required to shout the values.
You are
at Chad.
absolutely not. In fact, I would love it if you didn't. But I can't. The good thing
It's
about We Make
adorable.
Movies.
We do it
is
because Chad gets embarrassed.
That's I hate it. But anyway, it's the kind of place where I have no right to tell you to shut up. Basically, I mean, I could tell you to shut up, but you could also tell me to shutting up. Anyway, so
Yeah, Daddy.
I don't know if even you know this necessarily, Jeff, but we have a 70-30 plan for. So we're going to be doing this pilot, but the pilot we're hoping, and I'll get into more of the specifics again, a bullet point of the specifics later, is to produce the entire series, which will be sort of a mini series. But if any money gets made from this, our plan for basically every project that we do is a 70-30 plan, similar to the one that we have with our rolling production fund, where 70% of any money generated from We Make Movies, obviously investor deals are a separate thing, but any of the money that We Make Movies makes, 70% is going to go back to the filmmakers. And however that sort of gets divvied up, we'll have to kind of figure out. And then We Make Movies only holds on to 30%. And that's every plan that we plan on making moving forward. And so that is... that's one thing that we obviously, I mean, it's basically one of our main goals is to create a sort of a strong middle class of independent filmmakers in Hollywood and anywhere else we can spread our disease. And it's, that kind of, again, truth be told,
It's dirty.
these kinds of things don't generally make much money. I mean, sometimes. The majority of them don't make money. So they'll just, and that's probably going to be the case. But for the ones that do, they could make money sort of hand over fist. The one or two things that really take off, and it could be creating passive income for our filmmakers. So that's just that bullet point. And again, it's something we could talk about for hours. But I want to move on to some of the other things. One of the first questions that people ask me when I tell them, hey, we're producing a sitcom pilot, is like, oh yeah, which network do you plan on going to? And I say we're not, because we're not. I mean, I think it's a little bit, and of course we're going to put feelers out once this is done, and maybe we'll take a meeting or two. It would be stupid not to, but that's not our plan. That is definitely Plan B. Plan A is to complete basically the structure of a package that includes more than one sitcom, and try to get individual investors to buy the whole thing. And it's, again, there's a lot more to it than just that. But the idea is we produce it ourselves, we finish it ourselves, we bring in investors to do it. But then we're in the sort of the boat to make the deal. We can make whatever deal we want. Plus, we own the content, and that is really, that's we and the private investors that we go to. And then the sort of the last thing that's really interesting is if you watched the last show we did, it was a few weeks ago, we had to take the last couple weeks off. If you watch what we talked about with equity crowdfunding, I'm also planning and hoping that we're going to have some platforms. I'm actually working with a guy to help create sort of a platform where you can do actual equity crowdfunding and people can actually go and exchange funds for equity for these different projects. And that's actually also the goal, is to hopefully the opportunities will come. But the thing is that, you know, it's so in my opinion old and short-sighted and like sort of myopic to assume that if you don't have a network, it's going to be a failure, you know, and that's ridiculous. I mean, independent films have been doing this for decades, just getting made and then finding the distribution after. Why not independent content? I mean, look at what Netflix is doing. You know what I mean? And if we own it, and we sell the license like frickin' Sony just did with Seinfeld. I mean, obviously we're not Seinfeld, but it's just all you have to do is look around you and you see the signs so easily that this kind of thing, it's the time. It is the time to do this kind of thing. And it's in fact, in my opinion, it's stupid not to. It's stupid to keep trying to do things the old way. It's wasteful. And then the production companies themselves, they don't own anything. They're just trying to, you know what I mean? And it's silly. In my opinion, you can make this stuff nowadays. The technology is around, and We Make Movies is obviously proven that we can produce content, you know, high quality with high production values for very little money. And so we're going to do it, and that's sort of the plan. I know that's a lot of stuff, and I know that there's lots of holes in it. It's like, wait, what? I just dropped a bunch. But I mean, is there anything else? Jeff, let's start with you. What do you think about what we're doing? I mean, you obviously don't have to talk about it from the point of view of a producer per se, but do you think I'm out of my mind?
No, not at all. I think we've seen it change so much in the last, you know, not even 10 years, but 2 years. It's been insane, like the progress. I mean, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Those guys changed the rules by shooting their own pilot and then getting bidding wars by the studios. And everybody's been playing catch up kind of since then, I feel like. Fox just announced that they were going to not do pilots per se. They were just going to pick some stuff up direct to series. So everybody's changing. Everybody has to adapt. So I think exactly what you're talking about is you want to be in front of that wave, not crashed underneath it.
Yeah, and I'm not asking because I want people to pat me on the back and say, "Oh no, you're smart." I really want an honest opinion.
Oh, well, good, because I was definitely not planning on doing that.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
we don't do that.
Nobody was gonna. Nobody.
No.
Good.
I feel like this is like. I understand the desire of cable news shows to get people with opposing viewpoints on, because I do feel like we're all just going to be like, of course you do this. We're all independent artists. We all know that it's freaking ridiculous and stupid and practically impossible to even earn a living in like the whole traditional structure, and a tiny percentage of people who try to are ever successful at it. Unless you're at the top, you're not making any goddamn money. Like a person, my next door neighbor, actually, he's a great guy. He's been an actor for a long time, and he's really interested in my books. And every time we talk about it, he's like, dude, if you're doing this well independently, you got to go like search for a publisher. You got to find somebody to publish your book, because those people have all the money. And I'm like, those people have all of the money. They don't give it to authors. They make the money from our books. They don't give it to us.
One of my favorite bloggers is Jeff Suster from both sides of the table, and he is a big fan of Chameleonaire, who, I don't know if you know this, but Chameleonaire, the rapper, is big into tech, and he goes to tons of tech conferences, and he's now actually a venture capitalist at Jeff Suster's firm. And that was one of the things that Chameleonaire said in the very first interview that he did with Suster, is that he, you know, for a long time was, I mean, literally selling tapes, CDs out of his trunk of his car, you know, and he ended up getting on his own a mailing list of about 100,000 people, and he was doing quite well by the time Paramount came and they said, hey, we want to give you a deal. Within moments of him signing that deal, he wanted out because
Yeah.
he was still doing all the damn work.
Yeah.
Paramount
Right.
was taking such an enormous chunk, and that's what it's when. Because when we were trying to put this deal together, there's actually another writer who I've worked with in the past, and he has this very funny piece, which was read at We Make Movies a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago, and he just was so completely skeptical of this. And there's another writer that some of us know who has been skeptical of this for a while, and I see that just because it hasn't happened yet, people are like, well, it makes no sense. I've never seen that. But you have. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Is this happens all the time with indie film, with indie features.
I have a question, Jeff. As a writer, knowing that your piece is going to get made as it is, that rather than having to pitch it to Joe Schmo and 17,000 people, that may not happen. Do you write differently? Is there something in your writing that you would shy away from that you normally would do, or does it change how you do your craft at all?
I think, yeah. Well, I think especially for Off the Grid, when Laura and I sat down to write it, we definitely wrote with the We Make Movie film community in mind, using the strengths and assets of the community. I know for sure there was a couple people we definitely wrote in mind for characters while we were writing. We were also thinking about, location costs and tech costs and things like that. In fact, I had changed something. It was now the one character shoots a bow and arrow, and I put in parentheses after or whatever's easier to shoot, because I know, what our capabilities. I wasn't sure, but you know what I mean. But I think in general, I was writing a little more realistic and a little more community based, to bring everything that the community has as positives to light.
Yeah, and thank God. I mean, because that's obviously key, is that it has to be inexpensive to. If there were spaceships and stuff, it's like, well, no, come on, we're not going to be able to do that,
I can get you one of those, man.
When did you become a Vato gangster?
I've been watching a lot of Vines recently. There's a few Viners that I'm really into, and there's this guy Marty Mancuso. When he does a normal Vine, when he just talks, he's just totally. But he puts on this hyper Mexican stereotypical character. Oh my God, it's incredible! So fucking awesome. It's been creeping in. My wife is like, stop it, stop doing it.
It's fine until you do it in public, Garrett. Then it's a problem.
Right, exactly.
In front of other people. Or talk about it on
We have had some more people tune in live, by the way. I just want to insert a little message. You guys can comment on the YouTube video. We can see you and answer you live if you're watching the YouTube channel.
Yeah, insert it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, in fact, I see a couple here. Fun fact, totally separate. Fun fact, looks like Mayweather's probably clearing just about as much as Age of Ultron did in domestic. That's obviously not related to what we're talking about right now, but that is a very sad
Here I was trying to stay on topic, Chad.
No, but back to the topic. I mean, I wish we had a lot more time to discuss this.
If everybody was doing this, I think you'd have a lot more people not being millionaires, but being able to make a living at a filmmaker. I mean, let's be honest, it's really fucking hard to do.
Well, I think the key thing to remember on this is that timing is everything. I don't think if we were releasing this project today, I don't think it would necessarily be time. I think that the time is going to pick up. You watch, you see what's going on, you see what Netflix is doing, and friggin' Overstock.com, Marriott hotels. I mean, everybody is producing content, and it's going to hit a point where everybody has these means of distribution that they need more and more and more content for.
Right.
There's going to get a point where the fact that we don't have A-listers and even B-listers in this piece, it's not going to matter.
Right.
And in fact, the plan is, that's why I wanted to do 3 different things, is that I don't think the first piece we're going to be able to sell for a ton of dough. I don't even necessarily think we're going to be able to sell it back for cost. I think it's going to, at least not at first, but after.
But you're going to own it.
But we'll own it. What are you saying, Michelle?
I don't know. It's pretty freaking funny.
The piece is hilarious, but people have to know about it before they're going to be able to see that it's hilarious. That's the point. And if there's and so I have, and whether it's off the grid or if it's one of the other two pieces, another part of the plan is to kind of share actors amongst the different pieces, so that there is a reason, so that we're creating the stars from the other shows, and that's part of the selling point to it.
And I always try to when we talk about advice or where trends are going or something like that. Obviously, I like to focus on the theoretical listener, not just the people who come in and watch the live shows, but the people who listen to the podcast. And there are probably indie filmmakers out there and everything. And I try to think, how can they use this? How could they do this themselves? And honestly, the biggest deterrent to doing something like this yourself, aside from the fact that you do need some initial investment in order to do it, which is not going to be a tremendous amount in this case, but you do need something. But other than that, it really is having the group. It is having
that definitely helps.
Absolutely.
That definitely helps. But the fact is that people are doing this now with independent film. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's a waste of money. Honestly, I do. I think that's a waste of money. Stop putting money into independent film and start putting it into independent TV.
Oh, well, okay. So that's a can of worms, too.
That is a can of worms.
But look at the statistics. Just look at the statistics. Are these independent films making their money back?
Right.
Okay, but my
question is, are people making independent films to make money? Probably not.
Are we just going to get sidetracked? I don't get to. Okay. My
Go,
point wasn't
Garrett.
about that. I'm thinking, okay, somebody is listening right now, and they think this is a fantastic idea. If you want to do this, make sure you have the group that can get it done. Whether it's you and your friends, your little, your filmmaking community out there in Montana or something like that. If you guys have that, then great. But I wouldn't go about trying to. What I would advise people against doing is going out and just finding people, just sort of off the street and getting them to do it for cut rates and this and that. If you don't already have we can do this because we're an existing community and we're a group and we have the knowledge and the trust and we have the skills to make sure that we're all protected in what we're doing. Somebody else out there, either move to LA and join us and do it with us, or make sure that
Toronto.
Or Toronto. Yeah, if you're from Canada, we make movies in Toronto. But I think that's one reason that we are able to do it and why it's good. I think it's going to be freaking awesome. I think it is a really, really smart thing to do. But I also think that we're able to do it because we make movies, bitches.
Yeah, but I do think that, you see these groups all around the country, all around the world, in fact.
Right,
and they have generated it is a group sport. Filmmaking is a group sport, for sure. And that's the case. My point was that I think it is, and I didn't think of it as a subject change. I thought we were talking to independent filmmakers. That's what I was saying to independent filmmakers. Is by and large, I still see all my friends all over the world. Some friends that have moved to Florida or whatever. They're like, oh, I got to make this movie. Getting on Kickstarter. Got to make this movie. Blah blah blah. I don't think it's going to help your career overall as much as doing independent TV is at this particular point in time.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was all I was saying. If you're an independent content creator, I think you need to be focusing on the TV show. You need to do what Jeff and Laura are doing, and start writing a piece that you could produce. Or somebody could get the ducats together and produce it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff, now that we have you on the show, I'm interested in for our viewers that don't know anything about Off the Grid, do you want to give a little tease about it?
Sure. Yeah. Off the Grid it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meets Orange is the New Black. That's kind of how we're describing it lately. Cool. It's 3 individuals get sentenced to a internet rehab center in the mountains of Big Bear because they're so addicted to their internet devices. And of course, we have all the different tropes and internet addictions you have possible. One character is a compulsive online shopper. One character is an online gamer. One is an oversharer on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everything. So it's all those kind of things. So we're poking fun at technology, but also showing how it's absolutely essential in our lives.
Yeah. It's very time, and thank you, Michelle, for asking that. I'm such in producer mode that I'm like,
No,
even
no,
thinking
that's why
about.
I'm here to
That's
remember
all
all
you
the things that
do.
the boys forget. Hashtag
Yes.
off the grid,
Yeah.
which has been appearing. Just and is there a website yet or Facebook page, or is that still
I was
a work in
thinking about that
progress?
today. I think it's smart. I was just thinking about that today, actually. I think we should definitely put up at least a Facebook page pretty
For sure.
soon. Yeah.
But if you want to
We'll
keep
talk
track
about
of it, you can keep track of it on WeMakeMovies.org, and we'll have all
Absolutely.
of this stuff
Sign up
there.
for the
and
newsletter.
everybody will
We will-
know. And,
yeah. Sign up for the newsletter. We'll definitely talk more about it. I mean, there's so much to more about it. It's a fun, exciting, and there's a lot of talent. I mean, at least two of the characters, in my opinion, are so solid and fun already before a single episode is shot. And
Yeah.
that's like that, in my opinion, is relatively rare with shows, even after they've been out for like half a season. It's like I think I'm really happy that you guys have been able to continue working on it and get it to where it is now. So anyway, I wish we had cut more stuff from the beginning of the show because I think we're kind of over
I
time
know.
pretty
Fuck
severely at this
Justin
point.
Bieber, man. We got Jeff on the show. Shit.
For the record, you brought Bieber. That was you.
All right. I think that's our signal to move towards the ending
Yes.
of this episode.
Thank
We
you so
returned-
much, Jeff.
I thought-
Thanks for having me, everybody.
I had moved on from Justin Bieber, and I was so happy with my life. Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming on.
Thank
Good to see you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
maybe-
Jeff Bauer. You can find him on Twitter at Jeff Bauer LA, correct?
Yes, I'm castjeffbauer.com is my website.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
And maybe we will do more about this, Chad, and we should talk about maybe bringing it back and
Yeah.
etc.
But also stick around, Jeff. We'll give you an opportunity to let people know a things to know. So think about what you want to say while we get to that segment.
All right.
I will start with the things to know this week. I resumed my live Vlog a Novel show this week. I've done an episode every single day. I'm going to do a second episode today. So if you were enjoying that in the past, it is back. It's youtube.com/vloganovel, all one word. Chad?
Super. Also, well, before I get into my things to know, let me first of all say that please, if you are listening to this on
Right.
iTunes, if you are watching this, please rate it, please like it, please share it. Definitely, if you can, like it and comment it and give it 5 stars on iTunes. That would be very helpful. It helps other people find the show.
I always miss this because it's off to the side of the spreadsheet. I put it in the middle this time, and we'll leave it there, and then everything will be all right.
Okay, sounds good. Do you want to finish? Do you want to do the rest of it? And then we'll get back?
This week is improv night at We Make Movies. We have at the Theater Asylum in Hollywood at 7:30 p.m. Our live event for the week is improv night, so come on by if you're an actor and want to participate, or if you're a writer. They still do the scenes thing for writers, right?
I believe so.
Excellent. Or if you're a writer and you want help developing a scene, you can have actors in the group. Basically, you give them a premise and they will sort of improv their way through it. So that's a great way to develop some story ideas. Check it
And if
out.
you're stuck on a script, that can also help you get over sort of a writer's block moment, too.
Very much so. So check it out. Theater Asylum, 7:30 p.m. in Hollywood, and you can contact people about it.
Actually, the rest of this until June, we're going to be in the Elephant. So we're in the Elephant all through May,
Gotcha.
and then we're gone in June. But not the Asylum, but it's right next door at the Elephant. But
All right,
sorry,
the Elephant
what was the
Theater.
question?
And if somebody wants to contact about like getting a piece in or something like that,
Improv at WeMakeMovies.org.
that's what it is. Improv at WeMakeMovies.org. And finally, We Make Movies is, so far as we know, the only filmmaking community in the world that is fully funded and supported by the community itself. And we do that via the website Patreon. Patreon is a crowdfunding website, much like sites you're already familiar with, like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, except that it works on basically sort of a subscription model where you pledge a monthly amount, and in exchange for doing that, you get all kinds of cool and awesome bonuses and benefits as a member. But to be honest, like, what's most important is that you're helping indie filmmakers hone their craft and become better at what they do. And 70 cents of every dollar that is donated through Patreon. Almost.
Yourself? Nice.
I did it.
70 cents of every dollar that's donated through Patreon goes to our rolling production fund, which is used to fund films made by the group. And do we have any sort of update on the short film thing that we're going to be doing?
No, we're just raising funds right now. The what you calls are still rolling in the payments for May, end of April. We're still rolling in, so I don't know what the rolling production fund is at yet. But super quick thing. Valentina said hi. Gotta head out. Enjoyed the discussion. Love you all. Love you too, Valentina.
Love you, Valentina. But we'll definitely give you an update because pretty soon we're going to be making a movie from that's funded by our Patreon supporters, which is just mind-bogglingly awesome. That is so cool. So thank you guys. And if you are not a patron yet, but you want to be more awesome, more sexy, and more sexually active in your life, go to patreon.com/WeMakeMovies.
Garrett, you stole my angle and everything.
I don't want to be more sexually active. I have enough children.
You have enough kids. You need to tie that up. Tie it up.
Tie it up? What do you mean?
Nothing. Wow. Okay.
One last thing. WMM Fest is on the way. All of June, all of Hollywood turns into a fun, crazy theater mess. And we, instead of doing our regular workshops on Wednesday nights, we do a variety of different screenings. So go to WMMFest.com to see. There's really not much there at the moment, but there will be within the next couple weeks. So keep your eye on it. And that's fun. Jeff, did you know what you have? Do you have a thing to know you want to let our listeners know about?
Yeah, I guess I should start plugging this. May 13th, it's not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, I have what's known as a character showcase at IO West at 7 p.m., which is lingo for a very, very early preliminary Saturday Night Live audition. So I'll be doing characters and impressions and stuff like that for 5 minutes. So if you can make it, that'd be awesome.
Nice.
Fantastic. And we do have a thing to know from Michelle, Chad. You kind of skipped her.
No, I was going to him first and then us doing. It wasn't skipping.
So sexist, Chad. So sexist.
Turn?
But yes. Go ahead. You go ahead, Michelle, and then I will end off with mine.
Okay. So I went to my first Ren Fair today. We don't know what Ren Fair is, Renaissance Fair, and it made me very excited. And like now I need to own like 17 corsets. It was really fun, but I went to see my friend Kristen Lynn. You can find her on IMDb. But she is, from what I know, a fabulous like comedic actress. Like she does a lot of like improv, stand-up comedy, that kind of stuff. But she's done like TV and stuff too. But she was in the show, like ran show, the Washing Well Wenches that I went to see, and it was the most ridiculously, awesomely raucous, irreverent, stupidly crazy improvised show ever. And I just want to say, like, I'm going to put it out there that I think that, like, this chick, Kristen Lynn, who I've known her for a while, but she is, like, for sure going to be on your small screen or your big screen, like, sometime soon. She's amazing and willing to deal with anything. Like, she was, like, the queen of improv, like, bringing people up from the audience and, like, riffing on things. And it was really cool.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Nice save, Michelle. Nice save.
That was excellent. Well done. We had a mysterious stranger enter in Michelle's room behind her.
It looked like it was going to turn into a horror show for a second there. I didn't know exactly what it was going to. So my thing to know really quick, actually, it's a couple of quick things.
Guys.
May 16th, which is a Saturday, the very last performance, the very last screening on the big screen of my short film Tuesday morning will be happening at New Filmmakers LA at the AT&T Center. If you've never been to New Filmmakers LA, it's a lot of fun. The ticket price also gets you free drinks, which is nice. So check it out.
Open bar free drinks or like a free drink?
No, I mean, I guess it's different on different nights, but maybe it's at least 2. I think you get I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. NewFilmmakersLA.com. Check it out. We're in the 6:15 screening. They have 3 short screenings that night, so we're in the first of 3. So come check it out. May 16th. Also, just for you to know, if you're going to go see Avengers Age of Ultron, there is no final credit clip. They have the one that's sort of mid-credits, and I'm not going to tell you anything about that. Joss Whedon has already announced that was the case, but still, like, when I went last night, half the theater stayed just in case, and there was no film. So maybe they'll put one in at the end, but just so you know, if you stick around through the entire rolling credits, you're probably not going to be satisfied afterwards. Just FYI.
Fantastic. And I only ask about the drink thing because I need to know if I need to bring a driver. All right, that's it for this episode of the We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and spoke with us live. We appreciate you showing up. I am Garrett Robinson. With me have been Chad Kukihiko and Michelle Lucadou. Special guest this week, Jeff Bauer. Thank you so much for being with us, Jeff. We will see you next week at 4 p.m. Yes, Pacific Standard Time. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.